Hey there, what's up, y'all? I wanted to come and make a video real quick about God and trusting God. So, I had got a revelation maybe like a week or two ago. Ooh, excuse me, burping because I stayed drinking pop and I really need to stop. But anyway, so we sometimes pray to God to do stuff for us or to help us in strenuous situations, and then we don't really trust Him to do it. So I had to learn and come to the realization that I was not trusting God. The good thing is, God knows that trust has to be built. Like, no one just trusts anything, even if it's a God and one that they do trust and believe exists. Sometimes we don't trust Him with certain things or in certain situations. So, y'all ever heard that saying where it be like, if you're gonna pray about it, don't worry, and if you're gonna worry, then don't pray? I used to hear that all the time, and I used to think like, well, of course I trust God. Who don't trust God? But then He showed me and revealed to me that it had been situations in my life, which I'm sure y'all probably have done before too, where you would need God to help settle something or get something done or whatever the case may be. So you will pray to Him about doing it, but then we don't truly rely on Him to do it. We want to help Him do it. So I was in a situation where I'm praying to God to do something, but then I still just within myself was trying to figure out, how do I get this done? Here, let me do this, let me do that, and trying to figure out these ways where I can get it done, and then it didn't work out or doesn't work out, and then we mad at God and blame God like, okay, you didn't show up for me and you didn't get this done. So a couple of weeks ago, I was praying and speaking with God, dealing with some issues, financial issues, and I was praying to God about it, but I still in myself was trying to figure out how it needed to be done, how I could get it done, and basically moving Him out the way, even though I was praying to Him, asking Him to help me with the situation. So the realization had came like, oh, okay, we're blaming God for stuff not working out, but we truly haven't put it in His hands or trusted him with these particular issues that arise in our life, and that what we need to do is right, step out of the way. Because then, as I had went back talking to Him, and I'm telling Him like, well, God, you could do this, you could do that, I'm gonna do this, because the stuff I was trying to do to work it out was not working. Like, all of my plans where I'm like, oh, okay, this will take care of this will take care of that, they were not working. And although they made the most sense to me as on my part what I needed and should be doing to take care of it, none of them worked out. But then you go to God like, well, God, this didn't happen, this didn't work. And it's like, that wasn't God's plan. That ain't what the way God particularly wants to take care of it, or that ain't particularly what God told you to do on your part, your behalf, to take care of it. You took it to Him, but then still only relied and trusted in yourself to get the job done, instead of taking it to Him and then saying, oh, okay, your thoughts are higher than my thoughts, and your ways are not my ways. Although to me, naturally, this look like this will be what would correct or fix or take care of this. That doesn't mean that that's the way God needs or wants it to be done. And I am not trusting or relying on Him to do it in whatever fashion or way it is that He wanted to do. I'm just putting it upon myself and only trusting in my own self, which is minimal. And I believe that God, because I was thinking about it, I believe God understands, because we live in a world and we grow up to where, right, pretty much the only people who we do have to rely on is ourselves. So when situations arrive, we look at it like, okay, I got to get this done, I got to fix this, what ways can I go about to get the particular outcome that I want done, instead of looking at it like, okay, I don't know how God would choose to handle this, fix this, correct this, or bless this, but I'm just going to take it to Him, pray, and believe that whatever fashion or way He thinks is best, He will do it. I can count on Him. I can rely on Him. And when I came to the realization that, right, I was only truly relying and trusting in myself, which, of course, I failed myself a million times, um, that wasn't the way for me to go. Like, no, trust God. He don't need no help on figuring out what plan or what course of action needs to be taken. He is God, and He's God all by Himself. and just sit back and trust him to do it at whatever time and in whichever way that he wants to do it, instead of me doing it in my own might, which isn't as mighty as his, and then blaming him that what I put my hands to try and do didn't work, because I'm merely only human. He is the God that sits high and looks low. He is the God who has the hearts of man in his hand. He is the God who causes the sun to rise and set. He is the God who created us, you know. So I had thought about that, like, wow, you're right, God. I really totally hadn't been trusting you, or putting things in your hand, and or relying on his word. So after that realization came, I had prayed to God. I apologized to him for that. Ooh, excuse me. Like, okay, let me just pray to God about this and leave it in his hands. I am going to just pray and ask him, here, what is it that you want me to do? Not take it upon myself to do what I think makes the most sense, you know? And then using his scriptures that would directly align with what it is that I was needing him to do for me. So that's just where I'm at with it. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that was a revelation. I realized that we can have a relationship with God or say we believe in God but not truly trust God. And we can't blame God for stuff not going the way that we wanted to or as we've planned it to, when we're only relying on ourselves and trusting in our own might and making our own way instead of seeking God about what way to go and how to deal with certain situations and trusting him to work on our behalf to get the best desirable outcome. Which it is hard. It's hard. It's hard to sit there and say, okay, these things are going on and they need immediate attention, so I'm going to only rely and just trust God instead of trying to work this out myself. It is a very hard task, and he understands that though. So I am working on that right now, on truly trusting in God and knowing that I can trust him and rely on him and set him on the throne instead of setting myself on the throne as if it's all in my hands when it's not. It's only so much us as humans can do in this human physical body with our talents, our strengths, and our mindset. We have to learn to hand it all over to God, knowing that he is way more greater and powerful and that we can trust him and his timing and how he chooses to do it, because he can go about it and do it in whichever way he wants. We have tried many of times to figure and fix and do stuff ourselves, and it failed us, which is why he tells us don't trust in man and don't trust in your own level of thinking. Don't trust in your own abilities, because there's a God that's much, much greater, and what we can't do, he can do. What we can't figure out, he can figure out. His ways are not our ways. So although this may seem like this will be the natural next course of action that would best suit our need or whatever going on, it may very well not be. Let's trust in him and actually leave it to him to do, instead of not trusting in him, trying to do it ourselves and then blaming him for our failure. Bye.